It's an honour to actually have the opportunity to host this event. Having seen this journal and how well it's, how thorough it covers, I think it's 300 odd pages, covers so many different aspects to the Rising, more so than any other book I've looked at so far. And given there was a launch in Dublin, a launch in Belfast, it only seemed appropriate that we in Glasgow should have a launch as well. So I'm sure that you'll enjoy that publication. There's plenty of reading in it anyway. I'm just going to mention a couple of things, maybe in relation to Scotland and Easter Rising, just a few facts, and you'll get the substantial information in the articles in the journal. One of the things I would say though is that probably, if not the very first Centenary event that took place this year, certainly one of the first events to take place to mark the 1916 Rising, actually took place in North County Monaghan in a place called Scottstown, where I got relatives myself, and it was to a volunteer called Seamus McCarra. Now Seamus was from Monaghan, he's buried there, but he was one of the volunteers from Glasgow that went over to take part in the Rising, and Seamus was actually involved in the fight in Galway. And it's worth remembering the fact that it wasn't simply Dublin where volunteers from Glasgow participated. They also took part in the fight in Galway and also the fight in Enniscorthy in County Wexford. So just a couple of facts. Half of the volunteers that were involved in the initial attack on the GPO, if you like, on Easter Monday were from overseas. That includes Glasgow, Manchester, Liverpool and London. And it has to be said that in the 1966 celebrations, the Jubilee anniversary, there was very little reference at all to that fact. And it was even assumed that Coyle himself was actually born in Monaghan, when we know that Desmond Greaves subsequently disproved that by demonstrating that he was born in Edinburgh. Prior to the Easter Rising, there was a very strong revolutionary tradition amongst the Irish communities here. You can even go back to 1798. There were branches of the United Irishmen in Glasgow, named after Robert Emmet, but it was in Tone and all that. And then you had the Young Islanders who were very active, especially in the Anderson area of Glasgow. They actually forged pikes and they had planned to go over and take part in that abortive rising. And then shortly after the founding of the IRB in Irish Republican Brotherhood in 1858 in New York and Dublin simultaneously, then within the working class Irish communities throughout the west of Scotland, but also Edinburgh and elsewhere, there was circles of that underground movement were formed. There was quite a number of them actually in Lanarkshire. So when it came to prior to the Rising, there was already an organised movement there, and one of the organisations that takes special credit for their efforts was actually the Fianna Éireann, or the Irish Republican Scouts. They were very, very active in conducting raids on collieries, colliery magazines, especially the ones late 1915, early 1916, and full credit also must be given to the women of Cumann, the Women's Auxiliary of the Irish Volunteers. They were in Glasgow since 1915, and women like Margaret Skinner, Miss O'Neill, there's quite a few of them who were involved in the smuggling operations with the Fianna. And it's quite notable that Sean McDermott, who was on the Supreme Military Council of the Irish Republican Brotherhood, he actually made the remark to Seamus Reader, young Seamus, who was in the Fianna, captain at the time, who did a lot of couriering back and forward to Dublin. He actually made the comment that he said the Rising couldn't have happened when it did were it not for the heavy explosives that were supplied from the Lanarkshire coalfields. So I think that comment in itself is significant. The committee has been working on a book which we've had to put the date back simply just because we've been so busy. We're now aiming for the St Patrick's Festival week in Glasgow. A book called We Will Rise Again, quote from Conley, Scotland and Easter Rising, and that will contain about 30 contributions, including Chloe and Jim Friel, and there'll be a lot of original material there. We've been researching volunteers. There was over 20 who actually crossed over to Dublin. So that book will be a valuable legacy of the year's events. In addition to that, there's disputes about who raised the flag of the Irish Republic over the GPO, but there's two contenders from Scotland. You have Paddy Moran, who was a roofer from Govan Hill. He was allegedly nominated by Pearse, and there's also another contender, a Dublin man, John Hegarty. But there's one thing that there's no disputing, that was in 1917 in the Centenary, the first anniversary of Easter Rising, over the ruins of the GPO, Paddy Moran put the flag up, and that can be found in several in the witness statements to corroborate that. So we're proud of that. What else could we say? One of the things as well is that the Irish Volunteers Hall, right, where the volunteers drilled, they were drilled by Margaret Skinner, the Cumann met there, the Irish volunteers, they got the Scottish HQ. That building is still standing in Midland Street. It was called Ann Street at the time. It's now the Wayside Centre, and the Legion of Mary also have owned part of it. And it's a miracle, and given the changes we've all seen in Glasgow down the years, that building is actually still there. And sometime down the line we'll be having an event in there as well, because that is where the IRB circles met, the drilling took place, and interestingly, in the early 1916, the volunteers were forced to abandon that building simply because of experimental explosives, and they blew a hole in the back of the wall, and the CID were hunting for them, and they ended up in a place called Drisk Street in the Cumann. And that was 8 Company, Glasgow Central. So that's another fact. I'll maybe just stop there about that, but I want to mention a couple of announcements for you. Obviously this has been a very intensive year as far as we're concerned. There's been an immense number of activities, but there's two coming up that I want to mention. Ourselves in Conrad and Gaelic, the Irish Gaelic League, we have undertaken since the start of the year, we've been showing various films. It was a Seachta and a Casca series. It was, the leaders of the Rising, the signatories. Each of them, we had a film screening up in the CCA in Sucky Hall Street. Unsurprisingly, James Connolly was the most popular. We had 3 times the number that we could accommodate, so we had to show it 3 times, one after the other, on the same night. So nobody was left disappointed, so we had that. So that series has passed, and we started the Seachta Armada, which was a Forgotten 7 as well, and we've got 2 of them coming up. Next Thursday, that's November the 10th, we're showing Michael O'Hanrahan and Sean Houston. You have to register for that. If you go into Eventbrite, you'll find it there. There's also another event. Our committee got permission by RTE, Radio Telefisherren, to show a documentary that was made in 1966 in the name of the Provisional Government series, and the portrait of James Connolly. And we showed it in June in Edinburgh as part of our event to celebrate James Connolly. This will be shown in Glasgow on Wednesday of next week in the CCA again, and this is a joint effort with Bemis and Grant, who work with immigrant and migrant communities, so they do a film series. We're anticipating that that'll probably be a full house, but it is first come, first served. It starts at 7 o'clock, so if you haven't seen that, I would encourage you to go. One of the features of it is that there's a lot of interviews with members of the Connolly family, including relatives of his brother John Connolly, and they were living at the time in Craigmillar in Edinburgh, so some of them are interviewed. So I would definitely encourage that. If you get a chance later on, have a look at the exhibition that's been shown in various places. We had it in the Mitchell Library. Unfortunately, the first one kind of broke when we tried to assemble it, but that's just some of the history there about the Scottish role in the Rising. So I think we'll finish up there, okay? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Stevie. I have to say that Stevie's been a very, very hard-working secretary. I think when we get to the 31st of December, he'll be having a wee heel over. One small thing that I would like to report, a small contribution that I feel I made in the course of the year was I've been involved with a play about Margaret Skinner, which has been supported by Fair Play, the organisation who do a lot of cultural work for the Labour movement. And on Easter Sunday, we actually did one of the first public rehearsed readings of the Margaret Skinner play in the CCA. And I have to say it was a moment of some emotion for me, because the rest of the committee were all in Dublin at all the marvellous events that took place there. But we did actually have a wonderful, enthusiastic audience for that event of the Easter Rising. And we're currently applying to Creative Scotland to see if we could get more developmental money, because we're very keen to take the play to Ireland, and particularly to Monaghan, where the Margaret Skinner Appreciation Society have said, please come to Monaghan. So we're hoping that we'll be able to do that over the course of next year. So now I'm going to ask everyone, and if Jennifer could just make her way out there and not get caught in the crush. Yes, upstairs. And if our guests from your age would also make their way up. It's on the first floor.